I'm going to be streaming Sunless Skies, which is... I haven't played this game yet, but I've played a fair amount of its prequel, Sunless Sea. We'll be starting the game in a moment, but I want to give people a chance to sort of trickle in. And also, I want to send out a tweet being like, hey, I'm streaming. So just give me a second to set all that up, and we should be good to go. I apologize. It's been a really long time since I have streamed, so it's been a bit of a process relearning all this stuff. But we'll get going here in just a second. Yeah, so how have you all been doing, while I'm setting all this up? Anything going on? Okay, we will leave it at that for now. So as I said, I haven't actually played this game. We're gonna start with a legacy campaign. Just because I like the permadeath of these games. They can be quite fun. And I'll talk a bit more about why I find that compelling in a moment. I won't go with aiming assistance. It's not too tricky to aim in these sorts of games, or at least it wasn't in Sunless Sea. We'll just keep everything at default difficulty levels and confirm. So those of you who might not be familiar with this game, Sunless Sea is a long-form roguelike exploration game. I don't know a ton about it, but from the trailer, it looks like you're flying around with your big steampunk train in the middle of space, sort of like that Disney movie, the really good one. Shoot, I'm forgetting the name. Log of Her Majesty's Locomotive, the Orphean, March 14th, 1905. Our expedition to the domains of the dead has been eventful. The Orphean is damaged and in grievous need of repairs and supplies. We are returning in haste. Oh no, I didn't have enough time to read the text. That's fine. Forward, backward. Not too complicated of controls, though a bit different than what you had with. Ooh, so there's dodging. Yeah, we're not just flying around normal spaceships. We're actual train. that's good. You don't It hasn't happened to me yet. Sunless Skies, but I for a train in this state. If you don't know, this is the name of the poem. It's actually my favorite poem, Ozymandias. I recommend looking it up. The wreck hangs in the sky, pocketed into the city on fire. You and the boarding party don your sky suits, garments of waxed candles, lined with felt to protect against the cold of the sky. Two of the crew are whispering as they dress. What business did Captain Whitlock have in the kingdom anyway? Why the devil did he trespass on the districts of the dead? We silence him. Now's not the time. I guess we're gonna leap across the wreck, or to sort of explore this. Oh, sure. I did, not need to do that, so quickly. You jump, your stomach twitches with vertigo, as stars blaze above you and below. The air of the heavens is thin and torn by unbelievable. When your boots hit the ground running, when your boots hit the running board of the Ozymandias, and your leather-gloved hands fumble for a hold, one of your companions throws you a line, and you lash the two engines together. Only then do the rest of the boarding party follow. One of them forces open an exterior hatch, and you clamber inside. Her interior is cold, unlit, and whistles with the wind. Your party's lamps spread buttery light over the narrow, paneled passages. You make your way towards the hold, stepping over bodies crumpled in the corridor. Unfortunately, your way is blocked. A bulkhead has been mangled inward by a well-aimed barrage. Okay, so we have two choices. We can clear the obstruction way, or lead your party on a more precarious path. Presumably test of strength, or test of stealth. Okay, so the iron and veils return from Sunless Sea. That's good to know. I don't think it matters too much what I choose at the moment, but let's try clearing the obstruction way. Oh, that was a failure. That's not good. Oops. As you strain against the stubborn steel, you remember an event from a year ago. A boiler explosion had trapped an engineer beneath a tangle of plating and pipework. The captain was the first on the scene. You were the second. Together you pried the wreckage upward, enough for you to crawl beneath it, while the captain braced the bar across her back. By all means, take your time, she grunted, as he dragged the engineer out. Back in the present, the twisted bulkhead yields suddenly. A crewman cries out as its jagged edge bites him. You order him taken back to the Orpheum, while the rest of you press on. The way is clear. Oh, okay, so I guess he's not dead. He's injured, but for the moment, our boarding party is only 7. You've reached the Ozymandias' hold, a ruin of smashed cargo and spilled supplies. Hopefully, somewhere amidst the detritus, you can find parts to repair the Orpheum and restock your stores. Okay, so we're gonna search this ship. You find enough food and gas, you find enough food and gear to restock your supplies, and enough spare parts to make necessary repairs to the Orphean. Orphean, actually. I've been mispronouncing that. It's not Orphean, it's Orphean. That's rather silly of me. But what can I say? It could be a lot worse. So that's good that we've got supplies. That is very much a good thing. Sorry, I'm just alt-tabbed for a second looking at a message I had gotten. So I will be back in the game in a second. Okay. Just give me one moment. I apologize. If any of you have tips on how to set up stream stuff beforehand, very, very much appreciated. I don't know how many of my audience members have experience with that, but we got 4 supplies and 15 hull, which is pretty good, because we were running low on supplies. The Ozymandias emits a long, juddering creak. Your boarding party exchanges nervous glances. From the chaos of its hold, you have retrieved repairs and supplies, and discovered some useful equipment. A gun that could be mounted on your locomotive, and an educated bat. Educated bat, that's interesting. Oh, like an actual bat. I see. This is interesting. So we have a bit of a choice here. We can mount this weapon onto the Orphean. Her own weapons were damaged during your flight from the Blue Kingdom. That leaves you vulnerable. Having the ability to shoot stuff would be nice. Or we could free the bat. And I love the bat in the first game, because the bat is in Sunless Skies too, and it's pretty useful. But as much as I like it, I think I'm gonna have to go with the gun here. The gun is just too important. Unless I can take both of these. Okay, so alright, so it looks like we do get both. That's useful. I thought I'd have to make a choice there. Ooh, okay. Another choice. The Ozymandias emits a long, juddering creak. Your boarding party exchanges nervous glances. From the chaos of its hold, you have retrieved repairs and supplies and discovered some useful equipment, a gun that can be mounted on your locomotive, and an educated bat. We can press on to the engine room. At risk of maybe taking more losses, or leaving now and being entirely safe. I mean, we only have 2 fuel. That's not a lot. I think later in the game I will be able to be a lot more cautious, but right now at the start, I'm gonna take this risk to sort of establish a foothold. Get ahead while I can, instead of having to scrounge for fuel right at the start. Okay. The wreck of the Ozymandias screeches as its metal buckles and tears. You press on through the shuddering corridors, searching frantically for the engine room. So, we have another choice here, involving hearts, and yeah, both of these are giving us a roughly 50-50 chance of success. As the captain, I will risk myself. Oh, thank goodness. The engines are choked with old ash. You search swiftly, aware of every creak in the bullhead, every tremble that runs through the dead locomotive. Finding several sacks of coal, you can drag them to an exterior hatch and fling them across to the Orphine before leaping after them. Unshackling your locomotive from the Ozymandias, you stoke your engines and steam away. Restocked, refueled, repaired, and rearmed. That is excellent. And I almost missed that. It's a good thing I did. I just want to check to see. So we got this. I'm looking at our equipment at the moment just to see what all we got. So we got the bat, which is useful. Oh, and I think this is our engine. Okay. The inventory and the hold shows your current cargo. Excellent. Alright. We are your scout. So let's try it. Okay. Yeah, so the scout works fairly similar to the way it does in the original game, which is nice. The walls of the captain's cabin are lined with a hodgepodge of curios from across the sky. Captain Whitlock lies in bed. Black marks cover her skin like a monstrous brand. When she coughs, coils of acrid smoke pour from her lungs. Sounds nasty. Yeah. The brand. A word of living fire pursued the Orphine across the Blue Kingdom. It caught you just before you passed through the transit relay to the Reach, and set its brand upon the captain. It burned itself right through her, the doctor whispered. When I closed the worst of her wounds, I could see the sinus seared into her bones and organs. Judging from her symptoms, it's on the inside of her lungs, too. The captain leans to one side and vomits a plume of fire into a copper bowl. There is nothing the doctor can do. Oh, this sounds like a particularly nasty bit of sickness. The walls of the captain's cabin are lined with hot... Oh, okay, so that's the same thing as before. Approach the bedside. Her mouth is blistered from the blue fires that dance on her tongue. Her hand grips your arm. Her skin is hot as a kettle. Make arrangements. The Orphine will be yours. Her voice is just a rasp of burned meat beneath. But promise, She breaks off to scream a word in a language that was not made for human mouths. When she resumes speaking English, she is weaker. Her request, little more than a gasp. Promise me one last service. Promise. I think we'll stay loyal to the to her command, at least for the moment. We will see. Whatever it is, we'll see it done. She sinks back relieved. All in my will, she gasps. Be a better. She breaks off as the sigils burned into her bones flare, glowing cherry red through her flesh and skin. Better captain than I. The effort exhausts her. She sinks back into the scorched pillows and a twisted, frantic fever. Well, looks like we are the captain now. You leave the cabin and the scorched stink of the air behind and return to the bridge. New Winchester is further than you'd like, and the captain hasn't long left. Okay. So, oh sweet, this is our chart. So, that's a transit relay, which I think are new to this game. Don't recognize that train symbol. Oh, it's a station. Oh, interesting. So there's different realms. This is fascinating. I'll definitely look a little more into that once I get a bit more into the map. But at the moment, yeah, so this probably is canon, which is very interesting. It'll be interesting to see. Okay. You approach the buckled wreckage, poised to plunder the plunderers. Behind you, someone is humming a song of victory. Okay, so if we raid the remains, we'll get valuables, which I think valuables are... Oh, I guess we can't strip it for repairs, so we're just going to take its valuables. 30 sovereigns. I'm assuming that's the currency. Nice. I will say, I already vastly prefer the combat in this game to the combat. Oh, this is cool. Arrival at New Winchester. You coast into the bustle, the din, the soot, and the steam of Wolvensey Station. It's clogged with other engines, scrappy mining locomotives from Lustrum Way, weathered explorers gleaming with frost, sleek company vessels with bright brass fittings. No sooner have you pulled into the sidings than a brusque station master bustles you over. He requests to come aboard. I must speak with you, Captain. He insists, brandishing a ledger. The usual formalities. Look to the Orphean's doctor. Here we're gonna do it. Begin. The crew extrain. I apologize for my stuttering. The crew exchange bleak, wordless looks. The Orphean itself feels suddenly more empty. The station master looks confused. You inform him that, unfortunately, Captain Whitlock has just passed. Ah, he says neutrally. Sorry to hear that. Very sad, very sad. He waits for what he considers to be an appropriate minute and a half before continuing. Alas, even amidst tragedy, the cogs of bureaucracy must turn. If Captain Whitlock is deceased, the station authority require their answers from the first officer. He dons a set of spectacles and locates his pen. It will be relatively painless. Name, background, purpose of visit, etc. Shall we begin? I think we shall. Oh, so this is when we get into the character customization. I was waiting for this to happen. In the first game, you choose a background and a motive for what your entire expedition is all about. And it looked like that was what you were going to do in this game. So it was only a matter of time before we got to this point. But what should our background be? Reference to the first game. I think playing as a poet at the start will be interesting. Having high hearts, I forget exactly what they do. It's been a little while since I've played. This is interesting. Poetry was popular in Old London. Some poets sought fame, others art. Some simply enjoyed bohemian company. 3 preeminent artistic movements have come to prominence. Oh, so this is cool. I have to choose, like, what kind... it's like a subclass. The Celestials. In Old London, they wrote nostalgically of the surface and the sun. Now they write of the stars and the treasures of heaven. The Nocturnals, a radical outlawed school that delights in freedoms found in the dark. Or the Sovereign School, a new tradition born in the Empress Court. Their works are patriotic, bombastic, and occupied with iconography of time. Clocks, season, and sand, and so forth. I think thematically, I sort of want to be a Celestial, but I also wouldn't mind getting iron, because the higher your iron, the more damage you can deal.
So we have 3 ambitions, and these are essentially our victory conditions.
go for wealth. You want a comfortable retirement, and by comfortable, you mean extravagant. Many have made their fortunes out among the stars. Many more have failed. Broken and lost in the drifting night, will you be different? Probably not. But you never know. Even the stars have secrets, but they won't keep them from you. A message from an old friend begins an unwise quest to learn the secret that the stars hide. What drives you? Curiosity, justice, insolence, whatever it is, it will be tested. Oh, okay, so this is a more difficult victory condition, so we're not going to do this one. Fame. You'll immortalize your exploits in the song of the sky. For centuries, people have launched themselves into the unknown in the hope of making a name for themselves. You're never sure you'll succeed. After all, you never heard of anyone who didn't. I think we're gonna go with fame. You know, I think it matches the poet background pretty well, and I think it's pretty cool. So we're gonna be famous. And then just for our appearance here. Ooh. I like the monk. This is a bit of an odd character creator. But I think it's perfectly suitable. I sort of like that. Term of address. This is cool, you know, because, yeah, sure, you got brother and sister for, you know, the male and female option, but then you also got reverend, madam, sir, citizen, captain, my lord, my lady, specialist, doctor, professor. You got all sorts of stuff, and that's actually really cool. Huh. Archivist, principal, administrator. Wow, there's a lot. Yeah, this is comrade. If you want to, you know, impose your space communism, this game has the right pronouns for you. I think Sir will suit me fine. I was thinking about Reverend, but we'll go with Sir. If I was playing a priest, I would absolutely play Reverend. And there we go. And we're Captain Martin. Let's hope our voyage is not too cursed. Okay, so when we're overheated, we can't dodge. That's a useful tip. Okay. In a final codicil, the notary announces, Captain Whitlock confirmed that possession of the Orphean was to pass to its first officer. He peers at you with dry, gray eyes. This includes a certain black box contained in the Orphean's hold. Captain Whitlock's final request was that, at a time of your choosing, you transport said box to an address in London. He hands you an address card and deposit it there. You are not to look inside. She gave no explanation. And that's it. You're a captain now. The Orphean is yours. Alright, so I guess now we just sort of go do whatever we want. Get famous. Um, well, I guess first we should maybe take an inventory of what all we have. The reason I'm playing this game in particular is because I put out a poll on YouTube, and people, this is one of the games I put on it, and people seemed very, this is the one that got the most votes. So I'm hoping a couple more people show up, because currently I've not gotten a single comment in the chat, which I do have pulled up. But anyway, just looking at our hold for a moment here. Okay, so we still got all this. Profile. Interesting. Huh. Your soul. See, this is one thing about the Sunless games, is they have these really interesting resources. It's not just, your standard gold and stuff. You get resources like flickering. Soul light is unpersistent, incurious, lacking. The presiding devilness, the Carillon Compendium. So I don't know entirely what this is, but I think at some point the game is gonna influence this. So that's cool. And this is our journal with presumably all of our quests. Currently we just have the one of Captain Whitlock's legacy. And then officers, this is what I was hoping to look at, which I guess currently we have no officers. Which I guess we got a potential officer right here. Recruit the incautious drivers. I specialize in test driving, but I'm looking for something quieter. Oh, so he's like a crash test dummy, but an actual person. I'll take him. Yeah. Yeah, this guy seems pretty good. He's gonna increase our iron by 6, which means that we'll deal more damage in combat. Bit expensive, but I think it's worth the investment, especially this early on. Let's also take a moment to investigate the black box. Captain Whitlock left it to you in the hold of the Orphean. Her will described it only as black box, a description you consider to be an unhelpful understatement. It is a casket of black basalt, no longer than you are tall, unadorned with a single small recess that contains a keyhole. The thing must weigh most of a ton. It stands upright in the corner of the hold, where the crew have pushed it out of the way. Yeah, we're not going to sell the box. I'm just looking through my options here. Yeah, we can examine it. let's start by considering what to do with it. Okay, so it's just telling us some of the other options that we already have. Yeah, and yeah, the description is mostly the same. Hold on, I still want to open up. See what else is going on in this city. Bit of a slow start this game, but I mean, I don't necessarily need it to be lightning fast. Hide the advice. We got some shops as well. Not that I'm gonna be buying much from them. So I guess at the, let's do this. Excuse me, Captain. Oh, this is a woman. I won't try to do the accents, or the voices. A woman pushes through the crowd towards you. She is short and square-shouldered, in a neat black suit and polished shoes. She shows you the case of her pocket watch. It is embossed with the crown and hourglass of London's horological office. The body responsible for ensuring time is consistent across the empire. Oh, this is interesting. I'm hoping to book a passage to Port Prosper, she says, slipping the watch away. I can, of course, pay. Pay sounds promising. Yeah, I'll take her on. I currently don't have anything else. Thank you. The locomotive I was on broke down following a boiler rupture. The chief's engineer fault, I suspect. A gentleman fonder of brandy than diligence. Here's an initial sum to seal our bargain. Excellent. And yeah, I guess, like, I'm excited to finally... So, we have to do this woman. Okay, I'm just checking the map before we get too crazy here. I also might want to check our journal. She wants to go Port Prosper, to the northeast of New Winchester. Okay. Then we're going northeast. Let's go. Now, I'm not sure how long the flight is lasting. Oh, wow, we already got a... Sorry, but I'm going to be checking this out. Victory Hall. The Assembly, a coalition of independent-minded settlers, colloquially called Tacketies, gather and argue here. Deliver port reports here to receive rewards and win the Tacketies' favors. Oh, this is excellent. So in Sunless Skies, you worked for the Admiralty, or you could work for the Admiralty, and they would give you rewards for exploring stuff, and this is essentially the Admiralty equivalent. Yep. So we can make port reports, but first I think we have to look around here. Today, the chambers of Victory Hall echo with shouting. The assembly is in session, and outraged roars descend from the boardroom to the palatial lobby. A discreet functionary escorts you from the premises before you hear anything too juicy. You're a captain, aren't you? She inquires. Once safely outside, if you want to be of service, bring us news from the other ports. The Windward Company have spies everywhere, and we need recent, accurate information of our own. Okay, so we'll definitely do that. All right. Now we can get into. I think I can fly. A bit ambiguous there, though. And another quote right here. They call it. It's a station. The local headquarters of the Windward Company, London's proxy in the Reach. Deliver port reports here to receive rewards and win the company. Oh, so I can deliver port reports in multiple places. Following the uprising, the fortunes of the Windward Company fell in New Winchester. Now the modest offices of an ex-timing factory in the murkier recesses of town. It continues to smell faintly of bones. Okay, so I can give port reports to multiple people. That is good to know. I will say the art in this game is absolutely I think we took a tiny bit of damage there, but that's probably okay. The fastidious inspector approaches you in the gallery. Captain, good day. I notice your ship's clock has stopped. Perhaps you'll permit me to repair it. She has a little case of tools and a hopeful expression. Yeah, sure. We'll permit it. She gives a grateful flicker of a smile and sets to work. Soon she has the back of the clock and has spread tiny cogs across the galley table. Obscure horological tools gleam brassily among them. Everything has a place. I appreciate the opportunity to keep myself busy. Staring too long at the stars is harmful to the temperament. Interesting. So we get to talk a bit about her. That's cool. The fastidious inspector has a round face, brown eyes, and short, dark hair. She gives the impression of being perpetually busy. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Sorry, I'm alt-tabbing for a second here again. Alright. We can inquire about her work, which I think I want to do. This sounds interesting, the whole clock thing. She sniffs. It is of fundamental importance that 10 o'clock on the 2nd of June in one corner of the Empire occurs at the same time as 10 o'clock on the 2nd of June in the opposite corner. How's an empire to function if we can't agree what day it is? Unfortunately, this process is complicated by the fact that time is less reliable than it was. The hours trade has seen to that. The hours trade. I have no idea what that is, but it sounds fascinating. Yeah, let's ask her about the hours trade. You've heard the Empress awards her favorites with gifts of years to extend their lives, and that you can become rich, mining for hours to satisfy London's hunger for them. Oh my. Oh, the hours have more uses than that. We use them to increase the efficiency of work worlds, to speed journeys to distant regions, to resolve overcrowding in prisons. It does make my life more difficult when time knots and stretches like wool on the loom. More difficult, but more vital. Her Majesty seized a great trove of them when she assumed the throne of hours, and now even more has been found in the reach. Miners dig them from the ground. She looks momentarily wistful. I hope someday to retire with a modest pension of years. Myself, to prolong the better part of my retirement. Interesting. Yeah. This is where, like, I could play this game for a long time just reading through all of the dialogue, because there's so many fascinating little world details here. It has an uncouth splendor, but I miss Albion, in the steady light of the clockwork sun. The sunless reaches are so misty and quiet. She pauses, but critical. The territories here are rich with raw hours, and enough vegetation grows on them to feed the whole of London, even if some of it is a dubious shape. I am curious about the sun. What happened to the Reach's sun? In old London has a man-made sun. How did Her Majesty defeat the old one? We warred and we won. It's not my area of expertise, I'm afraid. The sons are made. The sons made the law, they say. Now Her Majesty makes it. As for the Reach's son, she looks through the window at the lightless, stirring mists. I don't know. Do sons grow old? Do they die of natural causes? I think that would probably be better than the alternative, wouldn't it? Interesting. I'm gonna compliment her skills. It's possible to tell the inspector is pleased. It's rather hard to tell. Well, I bid her good evening. And what do we get here? Ooh. Yeah, we're just gonna scavenge this for parts. Okay, so we ultimately didn't get a whole lot from that. Also, I need to level up. Interesting. Okay, so leveling up grants you bonuses in each of these different fields. So let's say Scarred. You've come close to death that day. It left its mark. What was it that nearly killed you? An attempt on my life, or an engine accident? Let's say an engine accident. This is interesting. 'Cause, like, essentially, this game is about, like, we've made a character, but now we're filling in their history, as opposed to, like, our skills typically being reflections of who we are in the present. Sunless Skies and its skills are about our past, which I think is interesting. I'm just going to check the map again. Okay, so I think we should be going... Settlers who live so far beyond the edge of civilization relish the hardships of solitude. They will fiercely defend their small territories, but occasionally welcome company and trade. You set down beside a pockmarked homestead with a holey roof and cracked windows. Its inhabitants have struggled through a bad year, and they will find the next one worse. Oh, that's cool. So, yeah, the game hasn't really explained this yet, but if it's similar to Sunless Skies, there's terror, which lowers essentially, if you increase your terror too much, far up. I don't know where all the buildings are. Very not like this. Even if it's not the one I want, I guess we could go up here. Yeah. Which I think, like, we wouldn't be able to make all the way back to the chest. So we just have to press this is a bit of a somewhere else. Oh, what is this? Recruit the incognito princess. It's flashing. Crammed at the feet of Hulking Crag, Port Prosper is a little London, divided into an affluent West End and an impecunious East. Queen's Cross is a busy station, crowded with enemies that have arrived through the nearby transit relay from Albion. She disembarks with her bag in hand and peers up at a clock tower that is being raised above the station. It is tangled with scaffolding and rings with the sound of hammers and the cries of workmen. Three fuel, 3 supplies, lots of money, lots of experience. That's cool. Okay. Sweet, so we have completed a quest. Souls. Oh, hello, Rasbo. You are the first person to comment on this entire stream, which has been going on since a while. Yeah, Sunless Skies. Have you ever heard of this game, Rasbo? Currently, I am deciding whether or not I want to buy a jumble of undistinguished souls. I don't think I will, because I don't know what they do, and I need my money for other things. Essentially, if you're not familiar with this game, the premise is it is a pretty big rogue style game. I mean, yeah, it's a roguelike, but it's pretty different from your typical roguelike in that it's a lot longer. We're gonna stock up on a bit more fuel and supplies. Oh yeah, you can buy hours in this game. So yeah, so this is a roguelike, where essentially you're flying around in steampunk Victorian age space in a flying train that flies around the skies. And there's a lot of very neat details about the universe. It's a bit like a role-playing game. I can sell them for not as much money. And it doesn't seem like there's too much to buy here. Not that I have the inventory space for it anyway, but, well, I'm here, so you came at probably like the worst time because, you know, I'm just sort of going through a bunch of menus at the moment. But that's sort of what the port gameplay of Sunless Skies is like. But essentially, it, you know, just sort of pieces about have your little train and you're flying around exploring the world. So this is, you know, all I've found at the moment. There's the memorial to the unknown rat, which I thought was funny. And this is not the only map in the game. There are several maps. So far, I have only been on the one map, the Reach. You start in New Winchester. it, so I did a quest to deliver a time inspector. So essentially, they had, their job is to go around to all the different stations and check that time is the same everywhere, because that's really hard to do if people are illegally mining time. Yes, you can mine time in this game. It's pretty cool. I don't know anything about it yet, though, but I'm assuming it'll come up more. This game will drop a lot of interesting world-building details like that. Like, let's look at this little quest, or interaction. A new clock tower. They plan to call it the Albert Clock, in memory of the departed Prince Consort. But there's a ways to go yet. The roof isn't finished, and the clock neither ticks nor bongs. You can see the fastidious inspector up among the worklings with a spanner and a can of oil, showing the workmen how it's done. We can ask the horse foreman what they need, or we can take our leave, or deliver them materials like chorister nectar and bronzewood. Okay. Well, I guess I'll ask what they need. Bronzewood, the foreman wheezes bluntly. One cosignant, they sell it at Trader's Wood and Palmyre and Plenty's, I hear. And a gourd of chorister nectar, too. This bunch of work-shy ingrates need constant shouting at, and my voice has given up the ghost. Some nectar should have me bellowing again like a champion. Carilon is your best bet. There, or Titina, the flower town. We'll pay, like. This game has a lot of prose, which I quite like the prose in this game, and the first game, because this game is technically sort of a sequel to Sunless Sea, which is this game, but you're a sea captain. Okay, so we can bring back some of that stuff, and get paid for that, so that's cool. I'm also going to write a port report. The factories continue to belch out smoke, while the other bridge hopeful crowds gather outside the Admiral Nelson. Lovers can be seen strolling arm in arm alongside the promenade at a respectable distance from their chaperones. There is a brief protest outside the Windward Company factory, swiftly quelled. The scones at the Nelson were as good as ever, though the piquancy of the jam was less than might be desired. I love the Britishness of the writing here. It's just very, there's a lot of words like piquancy, and we can turn this in at a there's some other quest givers that will accept port reports. It is apparently the Feast of the Red Saint. Interesting. Gaudy banners fly over the painted rooftops of Port Prosper. The smog of the East End is hidden away by giant posters displaying dragons and varying degrees of vivisection. The cramped streets are clogged with people. Wealthy West Enders promenade about the amusements, while impoverished East Enders work the stalls and huddle by their chestnut fires for warmth. A painted dragon, pursued by knights, is chased through the crowds to a chorus of "Ho! The writing!" Oh, by the way, I probably didn't answer your question fully, Rasbo. You asked, is this a roguelike? yes, if you die, that's it. There's no reloading your save. At least the way I'm playing it. They give you an option to reload saves, but it's sort of... I mean, you can play that way, but I will not be playing that way. And it also procedurally generates the locations of ports and stuff. So yeah, this is a roguelike game. Let's just fraternize with everyone. You are treated as a curiosity and viewed from all sides with suspicion. Still, you find yourself in conversation with an elderly colonel who has retired to Port Prosper. A bulwark of sanity, he calls it. A line in the sand against the stuff out there. He introduces you to one of the riders in the procession, who takes you on a tour of the carnival. You converse with chestnut sellers and flower arrangers, drink in the outdoor pubs, and dance with several of the vaudeville players. At the end of the day, you've learned many names and faces, and even acquired a few calling cards. So we are tolerated by both groups, the West Enders who are wealthy and the East Enders who are not wealthy. Cheers go up from house to height, where a team of patriotic mountaineers have scaled the cliff and unveiled the Union Jack. Okay. Its streets narrow huddle in the shadow of a great crag. Banners display the stony features of her renewed majesty. Wealthy West Enders strut by, exchanging polite greetings and veiled gossip, while sooty East End workers file to the hour refining factories. Peeling posters promise wholesome lives in the reach to new arrivals, but most of the posters are years old. More newcomers arrive at Port Prosper than ever leave it. Interesting. And I guess we may now go for tea. Normally it gives you a lot of options, but we'll just, do whatever it's given us. Okay. Now we have to actually make a skill check. The Admiral Nelson is in Port Prosper's most exclusive tea house. West Enders congregate here and sit amongst the many little tables of ornamental shepherds and bulldogs, and drink tea from little saucers with her renewed majesty's face on them. The Admiral Nelson is so exclusive, in fact, that it opens only occasionally. It never does anything so crass as to advertise. People know by word of mouth. Initially, at least, most prosperants join the queue. So I can eavesdrop. There's much to be learned here at the heart of polite society, if you're discreet. Or I can take the much better option of engage in pointed gossip. My character has a lot of hearts, so this is a much better proposition for him. It's a failure. Oh, that's not good. You engage in the great game of Port Prosper with aplomb commenting on this dignitary's hemline, and that gentleman's awful propensity for trying to keep pace with Albion fashions. You're just starting to enjoy yourself when one of the waiting staff catches your eye. Don't I know you? You make your excuses. Oh, a gunshot in the night, pistols in the morning. The West Enders close ranks. Oh no. In the narrow streets huddle, in the renewed shadow of the great hag, banners display the stony features of her renewed majesty. Okay. That was quite a lot, to go through. Um, I would set out immediately, but there's a couple other things I need to do. First off, let's check out this incognito princess. Because she needs taken somewhere. Oh wait, no, she's an officer. So, perched atop a mountain of luggage is a radiant young woman. She's an officer dressed in what an actor would wear in fantastical romance. A tiara rests on her brow. A steady stream of commoners comes to pay homage, bowing and curtsying enthusiastically. Starlings circle in dense swarms above her, refugees from Old London and common sight, although not in such numbers. She ignores everything and hands you paper so pristine they can only be forged. Ooh, so she might not fully be up to tasks here, but she will increase my stats. She will increase my mirrors, and hearts, and my affiliation, Boheme, by 1. I think it's worth it. I have a lot of money to burn. Oh. But then again, do I have enough money? She costs 100. Yeah. So, okay. As she steps aboard, a commoner calmly takes a spoon from his pocket and scoops out his eyes. After such radiance, all else is tawdry, he says, between screams. It seems as if she has already forgotten about her signing on money. Interesting. She seems like an interesting character. Just checking the officers. There is stuff you can do with the officers. So we got a quest to deliver a person to Port Avon, and that, we could sit here and do all of these things. I think I'm realizing that this game is probably not best played on stream, at least not at my size, because no one wants to tune in for this, and it's a bit hard to commentate. However, if I had a co-commentator, that might spice things up a little bit. Being able to talk to somebody. Okay, the Albion Transit Relay. The Albion Transit Relay lies in a cul-de-sac close to Port Prosper Dock. There, locomotives can secure passage to the far-off territories of Albion, where London lies. Oh, so I think we have to use these passages to go to new places. The other zones. A garrulous captain is delighted to have an excuse to talk. I'm happy to help, sir. Happy to help. Terrible accent, but I'm not an accents guy. They point down the docks. There you are. Keep going past the port. You can't miss it. If you have good eyes, you might even be able to see it from here. Passage ain't free, mind. You can travel first class if you have a ministry stamped permit, or you can bring a couple of barrels of ours to travel second class. Well, that's good to know. Once again, it is time to undock and specifically, I want to check our journal. Port Avon. I guess it's not going to tell us where it is. So, we're just going to explore around. Bad news. Right-headed partner. Have munitions, but I don't know unfortunately, getting more resources from this route. Not a good idea. We're just going to mourn the dead. When settlers arrived in the Reach, miners flocked to this frozen rock, lured by the promise of hours stored in its core. An eruption of Canton Carry has left it in its current mangled state. Yeah, 17% chance, 13% chance of success. We're not getting much from this. Okay. We are going to... I think we're going to explore further. Okay. Your driver pulls your locomotive alongside the wreck, close enough for you to leap from one to the other. The floor of the bridge is carpeted with glass fragments. It shines like stars in your lamplight, and tinkles like bells when your boots brush it. A sky chest nailed to the floor at the back of the bridge yields to your efforts. Ooh, otherworldly artifact. Let's go. A set of golden scales slides out of the ninth open box. It takes 3 of you to lift, 6 to carry. Lapis lazuli shines in the base. Complex diagrams of constellations circle the pans like the rings of planets. Oh, that's nice. Yo, I might call the stream here. It's been a little while. No one has really showed up. This is a fun game though. If anyone is watching this after the fact, so far it's pretty interesting. I don't have a ton to say about it at the moment though. So I guess in that case, everyone who's watching, have a good day. I'll see y'all next time.